Welcome to Kitchen Table Conversations. It's so good to see you all in 2021. Wow. Can you believe that we have been doing this show for over a year? A whole year. We into 2021. We got great things we're expecting, and I hope that you are expecting the same things. Y'all, come on in this chat room. Come on in the show. Come on, let's get in the comment section, and let's be able to have an open and honest conversation and dialogue. You know, that's what the whole kitchen table conversation is about: open and honest conversation and informing the community of what's going on. So we're going to get right into it. Like and share. If you got questions, put them in the comment section. I'm reading them over here, and our guests are also reading the questions. But if you want to call in and you got a question, hey, the number's at the bottom of the screen. You see it right there. We're going to jump right into this. Guys, tonight our guest is, our first guest, we're going to have two guests. They're going to come under two different segments. Our first guest is no other than current board president, Toulouse City Schools board president, Mr. Eric Wilson. Mr. Eric Wilson, this is his first term serving as board president. I guess he's gonna run for a second term, but we'll see. Let him tell you all that in a minute. So, matter of fact, let me just go on close that, and then we'll add him on here. As our guest, Mr. Eric Wilson. How you doing, man?
Mr. Pelt, thank you for having me on. Happy Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day.
Yes, sir. I forgot to mention that, y'all. I'm sorry. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I'm glad you was the one to tell me, but I appreciate you, Eric. I thank you so much.
Hey, and we had a great ribbon cutting ceremony at MLK Elementary this morning. It's a beautiful school. I would encourage all of your listeners to go see what I consider to be the crown jewel of the city schools buildings. And it's beautiful. So we're super proud of that accomplishment.
Yeah, it is beautiful. We was there doing the whole construction. Actually, I think the last ribbon cutting was the one they tore it down, right? And then we had another one. Yeah, it's amazing to see the transformation of that site. I still remember that site growing up in the parts of my life, Mackenzie Court, visiting my grandfather and run up there to the school. And it was old hen, and that was a whole bunch of years ago. That was old. I still remember that, and to see that now in the midst of that community is great. And I appreciate all the hard work that you and your board and the previous board put in to get those balls rolling and get that crown jewel in our community. So I appreciate that.
Well, and I would like to say that most of the ribbon cuttings that we've done, Rodney, we've given the prior board a lot of props. I'll have to say that this board, I'm super proud of the 7 people that I humbly serve with. We're the ones that had the vision to do a new construction instead of a renovation. We found the money to do it. We said West End deserved this, and this is one of the very first big decisions that this board made. And kudos to the 7 great people that serve alongside me in making that decision. It was the right decision, and we're super proud of that decision.
Yeah, I remember that meeting when somebody brought up and said, hey, if we're going to spend, I don't know correct figures, if we're going to spend $15 million on renovation and it only going to cost us $20 million to do the whole brand new thing, let's just do the whole brand new thing. And all y'all agreed and jumped on and worked hard and got it done.
That's
so yeah,
right.
We need that in that community. Now, if we can do that for Oakdale and Central Elementary, we'll be no, hey, no, I'm not joking. No,
hey, don't be spending all our money now.
Yeah, hey, we gotta spend it, can't save it. Eric, tonight, man, I just want to give you the opportunity, platform to let the constituents that's logged on tonight know who you are, what seat you're planning to continue to occupy, and tell us a little bit about your accomplishments and stuff like that. So start with an introduction, and then you can go into your spiel. I'll give you the floor.
Okay, thank you. Well, Rodney, I grew up in Tuscaloosa. I'm a product of Tuscaloosa City Schools. I graduated from Central High School in 1989. I went away to college and came back for law school and started my practice in Tuscaloosa. I'm raising my family in Tuscaloosa. I've got a wife and 1 child who is in the city schools. And, Rodney, when I ran 4 years ago, I ran because a couple of things. Number one, I was a huge believer in Mike Daria, him as a person and him as a leader. I thought his vision was great. I wanted to see him succeed. And I thought that the strategic plan that the prior board passed was very well thought out. It had a lot of moving parts. And I thought with some cohesion and calmness on the board that we could make a lot of great strides in the city schools. And you know, it was also my time, in my opinion, to give back to my community that has been so good to me. I always thought I would only serve one term. That was my intention. But Rodney, I've met a lot of great people. Like I mentioned, the 7 people that I served with, I've got a lot of respect for them as people, their hearts for Tuscaloosa City Schools, our friendships that we've developed. And, you know, COVID has set us back. There's no two ways about it. And I felt like we still had a lot of work to be done, and did not want COVID to be the final chapter for this board. And because of the COVID roadblock, I feel like this new board, we need some continuity, we need some consistency. Most of the people on this board are running again, and I think it will be important to carry over the successes and the positive momentum that we had created, and to keep rolling before COVID. It'll be very important for this board to keep those things going.
Yeah, I think the continuity is good for this board, and y'all have done some great things in the last 4 years. Some things, some stuff I don't agree with, some stuff, a lot of stuff I do agree with, and that's just part of it. But Eric, question: what do you think is your major accomplishment? You as a board chairman, right? Uh, what is your major accomplishment that you think that you accomplished over the last 4 years?
Well, I don't think I accomplished anything on my own. What I will say is that I feel like for the first time in a long time, this board stays out of the spotlight. There's very little, if any, bickering. We tend to be on the same page. We all love and respect and get along with one another. I think we have presented a great cohesive family face for TCS. And I think that shows in the things that we've been able to do. Um, we are not micromanagers, and certainly we don't rubber stamp everything that comes through the superintendent's office. But our job is to vote on what is given to us. And you know, Dr. Daria does seek a lot of input from this board and listens to this board, and I think he does that because of the trust factor that we've all created with him.
Okay, that's great to be able to be in one step as a whole entity when it comes to the betterment of our students and our faculty and staff and volunteers and all that goes into running the school system. Next question, guys, if y'all got any comments, questions, please leave them in the comment section or give us a call at 242-1957. We'll be glad to put you on the air and you can ask your question. I'm pretty sure Eric will answer it, whatever it might be. But a question I have for you: what can we have? What do we look? What can we look forward to with another 4 years of Eric Wilson sitting in the chairman seat?
Yeah, so I think you'll see a lot of the same. I think you'll see a lot of cohesion. I think you'll see a lot of positive energy. I think you'll see a very happy, motivated staff and administrators. I think they trust this board. I think they like how we handle things. And Rodney, I'm a big believer in positive energy. And when people are positive and people see good things going on and they see a board that's not arguing, it translates over to how they do their job. And there's nothing but a lot of positive people that have served these last 4 years. And I think central office mirrors that. And I think the administrators, for the most part, see that this is a board that supports them, a board that loves them, and has the best interest of our administrators, our teachers, and especially our students at heart. Very little personalities, very little egos, very little agenda item or hidden agendas by board members. For the most part, we're all rowing our boat in the same direction. I think that's what you'll see these next 4 years. We've gotten through the the major financial issues that this past board faced as far as getting all the projects done. I think we're very fiscally sound at this point. I think this board, these past 4 years, has made it a point that we finish these projects under budget and get through the capital campaign. And so I think what you'll see the next 4 years is us transitioning into 100% of our energy into the RB3 program and continuing to narrow the achievement gap is what I hope these next 4 years will be like.
What is RB3 for those that don't know?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm speaking in lingo that
go ahead, because I don't know. I want to know myself.
Yeah, so RB3 is a huge component of the strategic plan. It means reading by third grade. So
okay.
You know, the state, even before the state has come up with their mandate that takes effect basically about a year from now, Rodney, if children are not by third grade reading on third grade level, then they will not get moved on to the fourth grade. And so our pre-K program, all the reading coaches and literacy coaches that Mike Daria and the strategic plan have put into force have, in my opinion, made huge strides. And up until COVID, I think the data was bearing that out. And, you know, this year will be very, very important for our kids, especially our second graders that'll be third graders next year in their reading. So that's where our focus will and should be.
Read by third grade. That's great. I think that's an initiative that we should roll by read by kindergarten, if you ask me. But I appreciate that read by third grade because our kids. Because I tell my mentees all the time, if you can't read or do math, that means you can't solve problems. And if you can't solve problems, you're not going to get to the next stage. You're going to always be stuck in following or always stuck in trouble because you can't solve a problem. Because a math problem is just like life. It's just stages till you get to the answer. And if you go through the correct stages, let me get off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
It's a great soapbox. And that's sort of what the evidence has borne out, or at least the studies, is if you're reading on third grade level by third grade, then you're reading to learn instead of learning to read at that point. And you know, if you're reading to learn, then that just means you're growing intellectually. You're not going to get behind. So that's why those pre-K up till third grade is crucial for our children.
All right. While we on that vein, we got a question that said, "What are things being done to ensure children are reading by third grade when it comes to that initiative?"
So, great question. Number one, the pre-K program that, you know, is so huge in our community and is supported by the mayor, really put into place by the strategic plan. We've got to get children learn reading before they even enter into the first grade or kindergarten. Mm-hmm. So that's the first step. And certainly you can't rewind time. So what we've done for the children in classes that maybe were not part of that inaugural program, Rodney, is we've got tiered schools. So if one school is doing great, let's say they're in the 95th percentile, then a lot of the resources from TCS are not necessarily used at that school. Whereas if you've got another tiered school that maybe only 40% of the first graders are reading on grade level, then we've got literacy coaches. Central office devotes a certain amount of time each week. There's just a lot more intensive instruction and learning and resources dedicated to those schools and those classrooms that may need the extra help.
Okay, that's great. So we understand that it takes all of us on the same page to ensure that these children are reading by third grade.
And the great thing is I'm sorry, Rodney, I cut you off.
Go ahead.
Well, we don't have a cookie cutter approach. So what may work and be needed at one school may not work and may not be needed at another school. So we don't attempt to do the exact same thing at each and every school. They look at it on a case-by-case basis, and the help is increased or decreased based on those needs and those test scores.
Yeah, I got another question. Question coming in hot. What plan do you have for low achieving students?
Well, that would fall into the same vein. You know, if students are low achieving, then they're likely at a school that is perhaps underachieving, and there's going to be more resources dedicated. When I say resources, literacy coaches are going in daily and weekly instead of maybe monthly or every 2 months, or there may be more reading coaches or math tutors at that particular school. One thing that we had really, I think, perfected before COVID was the summer enrichment program that was head and shoulders one of the best summer programs in the state. And it is very costly to run. We operate on a deficit trying to get that done. And COVID really set us back this past summer, obviously, with not being able to have the number of children that typically participate in that enrichment program.
Great. Those programs really help. That summer slide really help our kids to stay engaged, and really we need to invest more into that. We had another question. Let me see. How can the board really hear from the community? What can you do? Because I know personally I get a lot of people asking me to ask you all questions, or asking me to help solve this problem, that problem. Maybe we need to find some ways to be more communicative. I don't know if that's a word. We make up words on kitchen table. Be able to communicate better with the public. So how can we do that going forward from the board's aspect?
Yeah, so two things. Number one, Rodney, I think your show is awesome, and I think there maybe needs to be a rededication to a Board of Education per month, to where you have a couple of us on each and every month, or however often the community is craving this type of dialogue. And I think, secondly, that's why it's important that we have some continuity on this board, and why it's important for some carryover. Because number one, each and every person that is serving on this board is doing a great job. And so if they're running again, I would say throw your support behind them, because these next 4 years are going to be crucial for this system. And we don't need to waste any time going backwards, relearning things. Certainly COVID was a huge roadblock. And I think when you've got some continuity on the board, Rodney, we feel more comfortable doing things like, hey, let's have a couple of times each semester, let's go out into the community and have some, programs or speaking nights, to where community members can come out and ask the board questions. But certainly you reach a huge audience, and I think what you do is just fantastic for the community, and you do a great job of, allowing people to have a voice and having their questions asked and hopefully answered.
That's what it's all about, communication. And I love to learn, and I also love to inform. So because one thing that I've learned when growing up is people only react to what they hear and see. So if you keep them informed and let them know the platform and what needs to be done and how we can do it, how we can come together better to best our community, I think they'll be willing to come on board and help as much as we can. So we have to do more when it comes to that communication aspect. And last question, I'm gonna give you the last few minutes. Oh no, I'm not gonna answer that question. All right. I got a question, but I'm gonna have to reword it another way. How can you ensure, as board chairman, that the resources are equally distributed throughout the cluster? Historically, I'm just telling you from what I've known. Historically, we've seen certain parts of the city resources not be allocated to the city schools in certain districts. So how can we, going forward, make sure that never happens again?
Yeah. So number one, Rodney, I think thank you for asking that question. And I think this is one of those things where people may rely on hearsay, not just on this issue, but a lot of issues. And going back to my previous answer, I can tell you that resources are not necessarily equally. We want equity. We don't want equality. And I can guarantee that question being asked, the resources are being spent on the schools that need them to be spent. So, you know, the Western cluster schools are getting the resources that they need. Now, can we always do more? Absolutely. But I don't think people should feel like that certain schools are getting slighted in favor of other schools. If anybody has anything to complain, I would say that maybe the schools that are higher achieving maybe don't get as much as some of the lower achieving schools, but that's the way it should be. We're looking for equity, not equal. And that goes back to the literacy coaches, the resources that are being spent on tiered schools. And I would encourage anyone to come to any of the meetings and pour through the data. We're an open book. We don't have anything to hide, and the schools that need it are getting it. I can guarantee that, Rodney.
Oh, that's good. Is we I guess I should have said that equality. No, maybe you say equality, equity. We said equity. Yep, that makes sense. Eric, man, thank you for coming on. With the last few minutes that we have before our next guest come on, look into the camera and tell the people why Eric Wilson.
Well, I'll say that we have established, I think, an awesome positive image for Tuscaloosa City Schools. I think, Rodney, maybe going back, there may have not been open communication because I think maybe the public didn't look very favorably on the Board of Education. But I think you've got 8 servant leaders that are hungry to give back to this community. And I, for one, have a heart for all kids. And I think you can see that in almost everything that I do, and even my business and every decision that I make, that we're here for all kids. And we've got to really come together these next couple of years, especially because of COVID, to make TCS work. And honestly, COVID has probably hit the Western cluster schools harder. And so we need to be ready to address those needs immediately and not spend any time trying to get a new board going. So the people have entrusted me these last 4 years. I asked for them to trust me again, and just know that I look out for everyone's child, not just one particular group of children. So we've got a lot of good people on this board that care about our schools, and I think we can make TCS the type of system that it deserves and needs to be.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for coming on. Everyone, Mr. Eric Wilson, contact him via email. What's your email?
I knew you were going to ask me my school.
Just type it in the comment. If you're watching it on Facebook, just type it in the comments and I'll pin it. And you all can contact him that way concerning board issues. And I'm not going to pub his business, but he is a lawyer and he can get you out of jam. That's all I can tell you.
Rodney, thanks, man. Hey, I appreciate you, and I look forward to serving. And look, we're gonna have all these kids jamming on the reading. RB3, okay?
RB3, I love it. Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Hey, and I know you've got the lovely, I won't spoil too much, but I know you've got the lovely Miss Erica Grant on next. I love that woman. She's got a heart bigger than this entire state. And I look forward to serving another 4 years with her.
I don't know who that you're talking about, but I'm going to bring this lady named Miss Grant on. I don't know nothing about her. But
hey,
thanks, man.
Hey, continue to do what you do for this community, and we really, really appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the vision that God gave me and the purpose and the fortitude to make it happen. But thank you for saying that, sir. We'll see you later, Eric.
Have a good night.
All right, thank you. Later. Guys, that was Mr. Eric Wilson, school board chairman, running for another opportunity to serve in that seat again. Listen, guys, if make your own judgments by what he said. I think Mr. Wilson has a genuine heart for what he does. and the students of Tuscaloosa as a whole. You can contact him. I was waiting for his number, but if not, I put the email up there somewhere. You contact him for all your board of education questions, or just call the board and they'll get you the information that way. So our next guest, but before we bring her on, guys, thank you for sticking with me, rocking with me over the last year or so with Kitchen Table Conversation, other projects we got going on. We're getting bigger and better, and we're branding more and more and more. So if you want to put your business on the show, if you want to promote something or an event, just inbox me on social media or email me, peltgi1@gmail.com. I'll put it on there, and we can go from there. We can get you set up. It's real not expensive. I'm not in this to make any kind of profit. I just do it because I love informing my community of what's going on, because the lack of information actually would destroy us, So let's make it happen. Let's go on. I put my email in the box down there, so y'all just hit me up, email me. We can promote your business, your show, whatever you got going on this platform and on Man Talk. So just hit us up. I love what I do, so we'll make it work for you, because I'm here for you. So our next guest, guys, we're going to bring on is Mrs. Erica Grant. She's a District 5 representative for the Tuscaloosa School Board, and she want to come on and talk to you. And if you got any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section, or you can just call us. Hey, we'll answer your question. So, Miss Grant.
Hey,
Miss Grant, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. Turn your sound down on your phone so we can't hear the. Okay, you got that already? All right.
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. You. Miss Grant, how you doing?
I'm okay.
That's good. That's
blessed.
You blessed? Oh, awesome. Miss Grant, thank you for coming on tonight. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on and talk with us tonight and have this honest conversation at the kitchen table. You supposed to have been at the table, but you was tired. You ain't come to the table, so I'm gonna hold that against you.
You stay too far.
Don't tell everybody where I stay. But tonight, Ms. Grant, we want to talk to some of your constituents and in the city as a whole about why you are seeking another term in District 5 School Board. So with the first couple minutes, just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Erica Grant. I've been in Tuscaloosa all my life, a product of the Tuscaloosa City Schools. I can't begin to say how ecstatic I was this morning, without getting too emotional, about Martin Luther King, my elementary school in 1988 that I attended, and to be a part of such a grand event this morning as we had the ribbon cutting. So that was very dear to me, not just because of the building, but because it was needed, definitely. But I attended Stillman College and Shelton and UWA. Also, I'm a business owner here in Tuscaloosa. I have 2 businesses, Charming Creations and Thrifty Charm Boutique. I have 5 children. 4 are in the system. 1 is in college, a grandbaby, and a husband, a loving family. So that's my life in a nutshell. Wonderful couple, lovely friends. So that's my life in a nutshell. But I care deeply about children, not just mine, but all children.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you being an inspiration in our community, especially going back to school, going back to college, and after being a mom and all that. We appreciate you being an inspiration to a lot of young ladies that throughout Tuscaloosa and West Alabama, not only going back and getting your bachelor's, but also going to get that master's, and we're going to get that doctorate next, right?
I don't know.
We're gonna work on it. So, okay, Erica, we're gonna jump right into it. People are gonna be asking questions. So if you see the questions on your comment line, please don't hesitate to answer them.
Okay.
And we're gonna give you a question. But so first, let me see what, as a District 5 board member, what have you seen over the last 4 years that you can say that we did good in this area?
Okay. In District 5, which is in the Alberta area, Arcadia is a school under District 5 and Alberta. Those are the only two schools under District 5. And the feeder schools are Bryan High School and Eastwood Middle School. I will start with, I already had a relationship at Alberta because I've had children there the last 12, 14, MJ, for a long time. I've been a product of Alberta. So being a part of the PTA, um, knowing the parents already, it was a it was kind of like just going to my aunt's house. It's a family thing with me already out here. So it wasn't like anything brand new as far as connection and the chemistry that as a board member and a parent. So everybody in any situation that we ever had at Alberta or Arcadia, I always with the big mouth anyway, dealing with situations. Now Alberta, like I said, that's where my children went. So that was somewhere that anything that went on, I already knew about. Well, while I've been in office, we transitioned from having Miss Brenda Parker as the principal for 23 years or more to a new principal that was new to the area. And so me and her collaborated during the summertime leading up for her to get ready to go into school. She's an awesome principal, Miss Tilford, and her connecting with the community and get out into the community, and getting to learn her parents and the students and seeing what she need to do with her team to make Alberta, remain great, because Alberta is a great school. Alberta has a mixture of children, and so it's a great school. At Alberta, we also have a lot of teachers that have been teaching 20 plus years. So that's also a plus, in any school. Arcadia, as I got on the board, it went from one principal to the next too, but I had a great relationship with both of them, personal relationships, as far as they call me anytime if it's something needs to be the dots connected from the school system, from the school to the central office or any type of situations. It got handled with discipline. It's not a lot of fighting at neither one of those schools, and not a lot of bad, just discipline problems. The testing and the academic wise, again, we have teachers in those two schools that have been there a long time. And I think having teachers, I love new teachers because new teachers are, innovative and, vibrant to the students and make them, ready to learn. But at the same time, you have some of the older teachers or the teachers that's, been there a longer time. They really put their foot on the children next to make them learn. So the education piece at both schools are doing really well. The feeder schools, my feeder schools, which are really Marvin Lucas District 6, are Bryant and Eastwood. And I get a lot of calls from those schools as well. But those are my two schools. And so I love having just those two schools, but I make sure home is right, but I have parents call me from the entire school system all over every district.
Okay, that's great. So your love spans not only through District 5, but across the city, city
Yeah.
school. Ms. Grant, can you point to any one thing that you could say that we could have did better with that? And how would you be able to recognize and not make that mistake again, or might not let that happen again?
Okay, I heard you said what we could have did better on what topic?
Any topic. Could you have looked over the 4 years and saw something that happened or something that the community was going through when it comes to education that the board could have done it better, or maybe was late in making a decision? Do you see something that you and the board could have done better?
I
And
can
what steps are you taking to make sure it don't happen again?
I can definitely see a couple things, keeping in mind that we are not perfect, but with on the board to understand how the school board works, we vote on a recommendation from the superintendent. And so I would say as a board, it takes five votes to push anything through. So if we don't collab, which we usually get along, if we don't collab on the same, top, if you got five in and three out, the five in, and it might be what I feel the best decision. It might not, it might go through or it might not. And so that's one thing that we have to get to the core of a situation. I feel like that would have helped us with doing better probably with COVID. That was a real top touchy subject that I bring currently instead of going back 4 years. That we got crazy emails and beat up about was why we was going virtual. Well, it was many reasons why we went virtual right off, but the entire board wasn't for that. And it didn't make us like fall out or anything, but I particularly was screaming, make sure the schools are properly set up, and understanding that, once circulating to get bad, could be out, and without educators we won't have children in the school. So that's one touchy subject. Even now, tomorrow school going back in, Dr. Derry is an awesome superintendent. That's my opinion. He's an awesome superintendent, and he has a lot on his plate, but it's his job. And so as a board member, I text and call, and we had a work session last week, and I'm saying like maybe we should stay off another week virtually. I definitely want the children back in school. I got four running crazy at my house, but just giving the numbers of time a chance to die down and making sure we keep our teachers in. So, that's that's something right now that I want us all to collectively keep thinking about this on the board. Um, Other than that, it's been a couple little things we don't have all day, another live, but it's been a couple things that if the board comes all the way together on, or if Dr. Daria makes a recommendation that we all agree with, it it can help us a little better. Like not Dr. Eric Wilson was saying, coming together on Martin Luther King. That's a good thing that we came together on right off the bat, and so we had a lot of good things that we came together on, and we had a lot of things that we had to go and talk about, disagree, and come back, and change stuff, different things with personnel, and making sure we get we changed over. I know in these 4 years, we've had a lot of principal turnover. So this was just my 4 years, starting in, and so I definitely know that I have more work to do and understanding more. Once I got in, what the board really requires. The board is more than education is the first component, but the board, we deal with employees, finances, the budget. We need a whole Starbucks to talk. We used to have to talk to Ed Levine before he left at the CSFO. Um, Construction. It was just a lot of more things besides education, which is the main thing that we have had to deal with on the board.
So, Ms. Grant, with all that being said, looking back, Now let's look forward. What is your platform going forward? Because I know every time somebody runs, they come out with a new platform. They want to do this, they want to do that. But me knowing you personally, you do have a genuine heart for the kids, and I know you got some up your sleeve. So going forward, what is Erica Grant's tenure going to look like?
Well, going forward, I changed my hashtag from all students granted to advocacy granted. And I changed it to advocacy. It's an umbrella for the main thing that I know I have done day in, day out, all during the day. Um, my phone number is public. Not my I didn't even want to I don't have a school system phone. My phone number is public. I made sure, we came together when we first got on that everybody that comes to that podium at the school board on Tuesday night, that even if it's not what they exactly want to hear, they will hear back from one of us, or the liaison that talks back to the parents that come sign up, on Tuesday night, because it's important to hear anything, everything, that someone has to say. And so I have definitely been a voice for bus drivers, not just because DJ is a bus driver. We can X him out, all bus drivers, all lunch cafeteria workers, all students, parents, administrators, you know, even with the board members, anything that can be shared, and I can be a part of making sure I advocate for it, in the most professional, respectful way, I would definitely do it. So that's my platform, being an advocate. I don't consider myself a politician, because it's not about that for me. I'm doing this genuinely from the heart. I have prayed about being on the school board when I go back to 2013. I go back before then. My cousin told me, Lord rest his soul, he told me that I was gonna be on the school board because I'm always at the school, and I'm just like, no. And he died in 2011. So in 2013, I thought about it, but I wasn't. I had to get other stuff back lined up, and so 2016, I took off on Tuesdays, every Tuesday from the shop, to prepare myself to, be a board member, just in case I won, so I can be off, thinking that that's all we do is meet on Tuesday. Well, come to find out, we meet a whole lot. We have emergency meetings and all types of stuff. So it's definitely, being an advocate has been one of the main things to get done. I was talking to a good friend of mine that's been helping me, prepare in case I do have to run a full campaign. And I told her to put on my paper, connect the dots. And I said, what's something else good I can put for that? She just put connect the dots. And it's connect the dots because between a parent and needing to get to the bus station, or a principal, or to get to somebody, I'm connecting those dots in an instant. It's not, if we go through the proper protocol on a lot of things, but sometimes things are very important, and it needs to be a person there, not just me, but the other board members as well, that we can go and get it handled, because sometimes you put stuff off, it take 2 and 3 days to get back with somebody, and we losing valuable time with our children. It can be education wise, it can be a mental issue, it can be a lot of different things. It can be a ride, as simple as not having lunch money or anything. And so definitely being an advocate is what I'm standing on this time. And equity, fairness is a must to me.
Fairness and equity and advocacy. Those are 3 great things, and that's a great platform to start on. So we're gonna go into some of these questions that's offline, and what I'm getting them through my phone. If you want to call in, guys, call in to 242-1957 with your questions and comments. We do got one question, Erica. It said, with the city council adding these different initiatives for new opportunities through partnerships and businesses. How is the city school board connecting with that, or is the school board connecting with that, so we can funnel our children into some of these opportunities that's coming about throughout the city, partnerships and businesses?
One thing I would say will, I know just off the top of my head with the Elevate, this helping a lot of our children do dual enrollment that couldn't do dual enrollment. And so that's one thing that's going through with a partnership with the city and with the school system. Another that I do want to bring forth, something that Reverend Wilson and Kendra, I think, I can't remember who, but we was kind of upset about this to go back to something that did better was when we decided not to. Hey, bring me a stitch of cord. I'm sorry. Decided not to I know. When we decided not to um get our the 2 mile radius, when the state decided to not fund that any longer, that was years ago. But there was one thing that the school system took out. I wasn't for it, but that's something that we definitely needed done. We need done, and the city can assist with that, because you have some children that can't get to school, that needs to get to school, and because they don't have, we don't have the 2 mile radius, you know that's feeling like they can walk to school, or they're in enough area that they can get to school. And I just totally disagree with that part. So that's something that I'll definitely be pushing um this next term.
That's good. That's good. Partnerships and that, especially dual enrollment, is so vital for our kids to be able to take college and earn take college class and earn college credit while they're in high school, so they can be a step above once they graduate. I know years ago when we partnered with Central. Dr. Sutton and I helped him as much as I could, and we funded a lot of kids through Stillman College and Shelton State into those dual enrollments, and we had a lot of kids go off to college with almost having an associate's degree, or going to college with as a sophomore straight out of high school. So those programs and stuff are vitally important, and I kudos to y'all for continuing those programs, and I would request that you all do more. I always ask for more. So keep doing what you're doing, but we want to see more when it comes to that underserved side of the district. And I just say that underserved side, just having more opportunities, because we know just because opportunities come in different ways. And sometimes our students that live in the underserved areas are not privy to those opportunities that other kids have. So if we can create those opportunities, make those opportunities available for those kids, they will jump on board wholeheartedly to that. Now, Eric, we got a question. I sent you the question. I don't know if you want to get into that or not, but while we on that, when it came to the COVID response, and I'm just going to ask you one of the questions. Are you all working on hazardous pay for our teachers? And because other systems had did it, but what are y'all doing when it comes to that area, when it comes to our teachers and faculty and staff, comes to hazard pay?
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to get into that or not, but that's just a question that was asked.
Well, I know one thing, and I hate to use the word I, because we are a board, but I have to use the word I, because I know for me, and it's not a secret, because Dr. Derry has brought it up in a public meeting that I have asked numerous of times, with the COVID going on, and how hard our educators are working right now. That they do get us, at least when it was Christmas, I was, let's get a stipend, let's do, this, let's do that. And so I'm not gonna say, I'm going to say publicly that it's not off the table, but that's something that our CSFO, and he's been reviewing. And so I'm praying that it does come through, I would definitely be that board member, and I'm sure our entire board will vote when Dr. Derry presents us with that. If he does, soon, but I would definitely be for that. So I kudos to our educators, because they should be, all educators should be educators of the century, because
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine, they go from virtual to staggered, and oh my god, it's a lot. And that's what go back, I'm feeling like last year they went from virtual to staggered to full. Then, had to deal with who got COVID, and who coughing, and who got to go home, and so those things, take away, from the day. But our educators at TCS has been amazing. The administrators has been amazing, and our board has definitely heard the cry of, many that do, that make it known that they do want, um stipend. And so, and Dr. Daria definitely, he is it as well. So they were just making sure, the CSSO is making sure, because see me, I have us messed up and say, hey, pay everybody whatever, but I can't, we can't just do it like that. But it's definitely something in the making. It's
Yeah,
definitely
that's
something in
good
the
to know
making.
that that's good to know that you all are working and looking at it, and we know it's a financial aspect of this whole thing. We just can't broadly say we're gonna give everybody $1,000, and then you look back, you ain't got to give everybody
Right.
$1,000. So we know that y'all doing y'all due diligence, and I appreciate you and other board members that's gonna take a good hard look at this and make it happen. Because for those teachers and those educators and janitors and lunchroom workers and everybody to be able to come into an environment that could be toxic every day and still perform their jobs and perform professionally, I think it deserves a good looking into to give those people a stipend, something to make them feel a little bit better about what they're doing, because it is dangerous with the
Right.
COVID. Now, okay, I'm out of that. That's my spiel on that. Um, Erica, with the last 3 or 4 minutes we got, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for working so hard for not only District 5, but Tulsa City Schools as a whole. And thank you for supporting what we do, not on this show, but other in our other profession. Thank you for supporting and sponsoring us. Well, not sponsoring us, supporting us in all that we do. So with the last 5 minutes, I want you to look into that camera and tell everybody in District 5 why they should vote for Erica Grant again for their city school board member representative.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me get myself together. So, well, first off, because I am a um, parent in the system, a community leader in our city already, even before the board, I just would like for everybody to know that I have a genuine heart for not just my children, not just District 5, but for all children, all educators. We might not always agree with everything, but your voice through me, it will be heard. Um, if you live in District 5, and if you know someone live in District 5, just know advocacy will be granted. I will continue to fight for whatever I need to fight for. I will continue to answer my phone, communicate. All information is on the TCS website. I'm also on Facebook. So, you know, you can reach me anytime. I don't have anyone running against me. Last time I checked, but I got my finger on run, play, start, whatever, if it pops up. If not, then I want to thank you all, in advance for putting me in this seat 4 years ago. And I will continue to be great. Any constructive criticism, I'm open for it, because I want to do better. None of us are perfect, and it's a learning experience for all. But I have learned a lot in the last 4 years, And I just want to thank you all. Go vote. March 2nd, we have a lot of candidates. This is a big election, so make sure you're registered to vote. But definitely go vote for Erica Grant in District 5 at Alberta Baptist Church. If somebody jump in there against me, and I'm praying they do not.
Thank you, Miss Grant, so much for coming on. Tell DJ and the boys I say what's up, and we gonna talk soon. Gotta wait kind of this
It's
cold stuff.
Paisley's here.
Oh, my bad. Hey, Pay. my bad. I forgot about Pay. Tell the family. I said, hey, Paisley. That's cool. That's cool.
Paisley, this is a formal interview.
Yeah, get out the screen.
Thank you so much.
Get out the screen, Paisley.
Right.
Get out the screen. I'm just joking. Look, thank you so much for what you're doing for District 5, and not only District 5, but city schools as a whole. I just want to just tell you one thing before you get off. Keep fighting. We need people like you to fight, because we're up against so many obstacles, whether it's education, employment, living conditions. We need somebody out there speaking and advocating for us. So I appreciate your slogan advocacy, and we want to continue to work with you and help to push our community, Tuscaloosa as a whole, to be a great all-American community, like I said, it should be. Thank you so much for being on the kitchen table, and we'll see you being on the. Go ahead.
Thank you also for having me. I think this is awesome. You know how I feel about this show, right? And so I think it's awesome, to have different conversations and to bring the community, awareness out. So thank you, for what you do as well.
No problem. And we'll be looking forward to a lot of big announcements from you in the near future. Oh, okay.
See you later.
See you later. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Guys, that was Erica Grant, District 5 representative for Tuscaloosa City Schools. We appreciate her for coming on. We appreciate Mr. Eric Wilson, board chair for Tuscaloosa City Schools, coming on. Guys, look, you know how to get in touch with them. Email them, call them, hit them in the inbox. I'm going to try to put their information on here before we get off. Or just hit them up on Facebook, or just call the City School Board, and they'll get you directly to them. Thank them for coming on tonight, and we appreciate the questions they answered. And we appreciate listening to their platform and what they want to do going forward. With that being said, guys, listen, all the way up until March the 2nd, March the 1st will be our last show when it comes to this. We're going to be entertaining two politicians. Well, I didn't say politicians. Two people seeking office every Monday. And today you had Erica and Eric on for board chair and District 5 representative. Next week we're going to have Miss Kendra Williams. She is District 2 board member for Tuscaloosa City Schools. And we're going to have, I don't even know if I need to put a name out there yet. Nope, I'm not going to put a name out there yet, but a surprise candidate for District 2 City Council seat. So join us next Monday night, January 25th, where we have Miss Kendra Williams for School Board District 2 and District 2 City Council surprise candidate that's going to be announced in the next couple of days. So they're going to be on next week, guys. Thank y'all for joining the kitchen table. I need you to share this post. If you hadn't shared it, 20-some people, if you hadn't shared it, share it so we can put information out there all across the spectrum, all across the board, because everybody needs to know, because an informed voter is a good voter. I don't know if that sound right. That might not sound right. Well, a informed voter is a good voter. Well, a voter, how about that? Because we need to be informed of who we're voting for and why we're voting, so we can make sure we put good people in office that's going to have our best interests at heart, and not somebody just going to sit back and try to be a fat cat and not do nothing and give you a whole bunch of promises, whole bunch of lip service, and not do nothing. So tune in next Monday night, 8 o'clock, to next kitchen table conversation. We'll have District 2 City Council and Board. Wow, that's crazy. District 2 City Council and Board next week. Tune in starting next Wednesday. Man Talk will be back. Me and Doughboy Robinson will be back next week. And we're going to have a special segment on our show. So the show is trying to go to another level, trying to make it. So tune in next Wednesday for that. And I also want to thank real quick before I get off. Thank everybody for your prayers. They prayed for me and my family when we went through the COVID crisis in my family. We had some of my family members contracted COVID and was real in some bad conditions. So all your prayers were heard. We appreciate you. And I just ask you to continue to pray for my mom and my sisters and my family and my aunts, cousins, because we did end up losing my grandmother, and her funeral, her interment will be this Friday. So thank you all for your prayers, and continue to pray for my family, and we'll continue to pray for you. So guys, we'll see y'all next week on Kitchen Table Conversation. We love y'all. See y'all next week. Thanks.